Hi guys, welcome to the Unpopular Opinion. I'm Kemi,
Claire,
Prim.
and we're real,
Rob, and we're saying it all.
I knew. You are looking at me as if I'd said it. I'd said it.
You absolutely did not say it.
I did.
It's a lie.
I didn't hear that voice. You must have either lip sync, I don't know.
Lip sync.
Is your child experiencing speech delay? If you're wondering what speech delay is it's basically when a child is not hitting their speech milestones by a particular age. The good news is that 70 to 80% of children self-resolve and eventually start talking your ear off. However, 20 to 30% of children don't. They will need help, and there is no way of you knowing where your child is going to fall. We have never seen a parent who regretted getting early intervention for their child. However, we've seen so many who have regretted not getting it.
Join the Bluemoon Early Intervention Program, a fun, play-based program designed to help children develop as they should. Worst case scenario is that your child goes to Bluemoon and has the best time of their life while also learning how to speak.
Call Bluemoon International School today and ask about our early intervention program. We can't wait to meet you and your precious little one.
Friends, talk about today. I want us to just go in straight and talk about the struggle of keeping up as an adult. Comparison. Comparison. Are we going to just keep wearing shirts?
The thief of joy.
Are we? No. I feel like when we say
Comparisonitis.
I know that we say it's the thief of joy, but we can't help it.
We can't help it.
We can't help it. There's so many times that people are scaling.
Yeah.
And people are doing things you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That hurts. Like, let's not even lie about it. That hurts.
Yeah.
So anyway, how are you guys as an adult, Fiona? How are you dealing with comparison?
I think my answer to this is probably my answer to most things. It's working on myself.
Yeah.
Because of course I appreciate that we all, it's normal to see someone else progressing and think, mama, how come me have not reached point X or point whatever? But now to not get to the point of disgruntlement, I feel like the work I'm doing on myself, that's part of the work, to be able to be like, I recognize that feeling has come up and I wish you well. Like, what can I do to keep growing myself? Because I think jealousy, those are all normal things, but how you act upon it, that's a whole other thing.
You. Yeah.
So I think it goes back to the work you're doing on yourself, your awareness of yourself, because feelings arise, it's normal, but do you identify them and be like, that's jealousy arising, let me curb it and first do something else. So I think for me it's a constant self-work, but I don't fight it like, me, I can never feel it. That's a lie. We all feel stuff. Like you all feel, you see some things and you're like, how come I haven't? Yeah. But sitting in it is, that's at your own peril. If you're going to sit in it and be like, oh no, I didn't get married by 30, I didn't become CEO by over what, I didn't build an empire and build a big house, man, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah. I think for me it has changed. I never used to compare myself because I was always the ist to myself. Does that make sense? So I never ever, it didn't matter how pretty you were, how whatever you are, I was with my 20s and below, I was always the ist. Like let me tell you, my level of confidence, I dare you to break me. Do you know what I mean? But at that age, but in my 30s, I think, remember the episode we had with Tura, and she said that in our 30s is when we wake up to the reality of the fact that our dreams may just have been dreams. And, suddenly you think you're going to have, if I had it my way, I would have had 6 children by now, big house, obviously. I travel all the time and all these beautiful things. But lo and behold, I have like a percentage of anything I wanted. And yet I see other people sometimes younger. So when I was in my 20s, no one was better than me. Like, it doesn't matter how pretty you are. It actually doesn't matter. No one was better than me. So I didn't actually really experience that particular feeling until I was in my 30s. And the disappointment of the 30s. The 30s humbles you,
Yeah,
That's true.
The 30s humbles you. Your body has changed. Your everything. It's now, I'm no longer the hot girl, the hot, sweet. I'm now the working mom.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
You're
And
trying
I
to-
fight a completely different battles.
And more.
And more. And then you're like, but I'm doing all this fighting. And then you're looking at people who have generational wealth. You get it? And you're just comparing. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to also create generational wealth for my own kid. And then you're like, but I've been working for the last how many years? I should surely at least afford a Range Rover. You get, as creators, something that I've seen myself compare ourselves as creators in Uganda and creators in Kenya. Creators in Kenya are doing well. Like, it's not like we're doing well. We're also creating great content. It's just the economy is not as great as Kenyan influencers and creators are doing so well. They're buying nice cars and stuff.
But how about if maybe some are, but how about if that's what you're probably seeing from these
Yes,
ones
and that's
you're
the
not
thing. Yes,
experiencing what they go through?
I might not know what they're going through, and that's where now, as Fiona said, I catch myself in comparison. I have made it a point to, anytime I look at someone and say, this person has this better than me,
You catch yourself.
I catch myself. I do not wallow in comparison. I don't let the comparisonitis
Paralyze
catch
you.
me. Yes,
It can paralyze
like
you.
it is a I'm a stopover and then it moves on.
Yeah.
I don't let myself, because when you get stuck there, it's a place you can actually, it's paralyzing. Comparison is paralyzing, and I haven't felt paralyzed by it, but I can see how it can yes, how it can.
I feel like when we grow older, one thing, and I want to look into the camera when I say this, when we become older, the hardest thing that one thing that hits you hardest is no longer being the est in the room.
Yeah.
No longer being the most beautiful person in the room.
Yeah.
No longer being the
That's hard.
smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
The most eloquent. You know, you come from a home where your parents, your dad, your mom are telling you how beautiful you are, how gorgeous you are, you're very smart, blah, blah, blah. And now you come into a world, like it actually starts to dawn on you when you join like schools, like it exposes you.
Yeah.
Or you're coming from a primary 1 class or whatever, and you've been leading your class up to primary 7. There was no one better than you. And then you go to schools that have merged the brains of every other school. Yeah. For example, you end up in, say, Maryhill, or you end up in Nabisunsa. And the smart brains of the country, they've also picked up everyone with 4s to 6s.
The smart
People who
kids.
are also the smart kids in their schools, and they all come together. Yeah. Now, that's where insecurities start from. Yeah. That's where comparison starts from. That's where our hardest battles start, realizing that you're no longer the est in the room, you're no longer the smartest, you're not special.
Yeah, no.
You're just a very small drop in the ocean. And like recently when we were in a training and I heard you speak, it was the first time I'd experienced you in a class, you get, and it hit me. I remember stopping and thinking, my God, this girl is smart.
Thank you.
She's really smart. And I felt like if we were younger, I would have resented you for it.
Yeah.
Because I also come from a place where I was smart.
Yeah.
You get. But then, like, I laughed because I dwelt on that thing for a while.
I remember you even mentioned
I thought about it, like
it
hit me, and I was like, now, thank goodness, I'm older.
Yeah.
And I'm okay to know that you are very smart
in a different way.
But it doesn't take away from my smartness.
Yeah.
It doesn't in any way reflect on me, or it doesn't reflect on her.
Yeah.
I just feel like she's smart. Wow, like this chick is actually brilliant. And I know that for sure we would never have been friends. I would have found ways to
put me down.
To not even necessarily do that, but like mark up myself.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, at least she comes late. At least, like those things, and we would never have been friends.
Yeah.
I would have tried to be your friend, because I know we do that as when we are younger in a confinement like high school. It's where you see the pretty girl trying to befriend another pretty girl just so she can be in her circle and see what are her weaknesses.
Yeah.
That way you can feel better about yourself. Like, at least I'm not like this and that. But I remember feeling like, she's smart, so am I. You get, my views are different
And
from
it's
hers.
so
And
so
it's okay.
nice to work with her. You know, something like that
Exactly, like,
instead of
like this person, it's so good to have this person on my team.
Yeah.
I'm very glad we have someone like this on the team because
Yeah.
wow, her brains are really good.
I get that.
But I know that if we were younger, that would have been a struggle.
100%.
And I know that in high school, that's why you find that people are beefing, or this one, you know, like there's groups and cliques and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's because all of us have just been thrown into, I feel like it's one of those studies of humanity where they throw you like as if Lord of the Flies. You're on an island.
And
where
now suddenly
you're all
have
coming
to
from
figure
where
it
you are
out.
the smartest people, and now you're trying to figure it out, and
Yeah.
you're trying to. So the fact that that is not healed while we are younger, we continue with it in our adult
Older,
spaces.
yeah.
That's why you walk into a space and see women who are dressed so nicely, they look so nice, they're so pretty, and you deflate immediately. You deflate, you feel like, I don't have space in this place. I don't fit anywhere. But it's not because you don't fit. When you go and work for an organization like Ernst & Young or KPMG that are recruiting from the smartest people,
you find
It's-
the smartest
yes, you
people.
find that it just doesn't take away from your smartness.
Yeah.
So I know that those are some of the things that breed comparison. Some of them were just not tackled
Yeah.
when we were younger, but we
were,
also did know
yeah.
better. No one could have
Yeah.
pointed out
Yeah,
these things.
yeah.
I think you have to go through some
Yeah.
things.
But have you also noticed that a lot of times, even the three of us, because we are a trio
Yeah.
and we're friends and people know us in the same capacity,
Yeah.
a lot of people try to compare us.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, because
get
we also project comparisons.
yes,
It's not even-
exactly. It's
This
not
one
just on our side.
Yeah.
It's
Guys.
and then you find someone saying, "Prim is my favorite,"
And you're like, as
or
compared to
"Claire
who?
is my favorite."
And what are we basing on?
And yeah, favorite. Because first
How?
of all,
In
one,
what
why are you
context?
saying that someone is your favorite over another person? It's okay to feel it. As I said, it's okay for me to feel that. Okay,
But also, what's the
I'm feeling.
context?
But what's the favorite
like,
in
well,
what?
we're running, and then you said that she's
That
the
she
favorite
she
runner.
runs better. Like, does that make
Was
sense?
there,
And
like, speech
often, quite
competition?
often, you find a lot of people projecting their comparison. You get, and it's okay. By the way, you
The
can
people
have
are
biases
different.
toward
I think it's
people.
okay to relate to one person
One
more than another.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
normal.
yes.
It doesn't
But
make them a favorite.
communicating
What
it,
competition?
Yeah.
communicating it is
Saying it out
quite
loud,
immature.
Yeah.
I think we're not careful with how we use our words.
Yeah.
People don't often think about like the gravity or what exactly you may be
Yeah.
trying to say one thing, but because you've used a specific
Yeah,
word,
yeah.
you're communicating something completely
Yeah.
And you see,
different.
it's like we misunderstand. You see, the funny thing is, yeah, when you say communication, it makes sense because the same person who have said Prim is my favorite in this episode, you find them saying Claire is my favorite in the
Yeah,
next episode.
yeah.
What they are trying to say is
Do you
that
know?
I relate to Prim's point of
Better,
view in this. I
yes.
see you.
Do you know, I remember there's this one girl, she is a fan, our fan. She's at every event, but the first interaction I had with her, she was saying something that was unkind about me, and I can never forget it. She shared something that was unkind about me, and on her own socials, and I saw it. You get, and now she's been kinder over time, and then suddenly she likes me now, and I'm just
You're
like,
confused.
yeah,
Those
You're
things
confused.
stick.
they stick, and people think we don't know them and we don't remember them, but we do.
You may
You
let it
know,
go, but it's
yes,
there.
of course. It's not like I care
Exactly.
what you think about me, but I will remember
Yeah,
what
you will.
you said about me publicly. Does that make sense? And people
Yeah.
people kind of forget that, and she blatantly said, "Over Claire is what out of all that too," and over, but. You know what I mean? She made her own assumption. She compared
Drew it.
us and then created an assumption based on that comparison, or the three of us, and said I was not. And the truth is, I really don't care when someone that I don't know doesn't like me. I really don't care. However, I remembered. So now when she comes, oh my God, I love you so much. I'm like, which is it?
Yeah.
Do you get what I
Decide,
mean?
make
I'm
up
like,
your
are you
mind.
just saying that because you're right in front of me? And I remember her. I don't think she even remembers.
Yeah.
But for me, I remember.
Ah, that's the thing. You were there saying things that are just as if they're in passing.
Yeah.
But the person you're impacting, ooh, like a word has stayed over
Yeah.
here, but they've kept it in their head, over in their shoulders. They've
Yeah.
attached you to something forever.
Yeah.
I agree.
Have comparisons affected your friendships or work relationships in any way before?
I feel like I have to think deeply about that. Have they? I don't know. Honestly, it's been not significantly. Like I can always know when I'm feeling a certain type of way about something and be like, let me first go back home with these feelings and understand why I have felt that thing. And start working. And it's not even about I realized also it's not because of necessarily just getting older, because hey man, we say all the time, you meet people, I've met people in their 40s, whatever, and they're barely aware of themselves. So it's not even age, but the work that you're doing on yourself constantly. I don't think I've had a significant issue, although I know that now, being older, is when me and my sister now have like talked about how it was when we were growing up, because now I was the firstborn, and I was really, really good at school. School wasn't her thing, so there was a lot of comparison between us. And now for me, I was in this place of I have to be the best, I have to be the best because I'm the firstborn, I must be the example. And then her being, at the time she was the last, before we had my brother, it was just like, I guess I'll never measure up. And we also had our uncle was so like academically excellent. So it was actually a difficult spot for her to be in. Meanwhile, me, I couldn't see that. Me, I was just thinking, I must be the best at everything.
Because I have to set an example for her.
Exactly. So even in school, I think without even realizing it, I was just always striving to be the best at something. Just like, how can I now be the top in something and stand out? And I think oddly enough, in some ways, I think it made me confident, because I always felt like there's no place I can't stand up in and now try to be the best of something. But yeah, of course, as I got older and then we started having those conversations, I realized, actually, we were compared so much, and it was difficult for her mostly because me, I just knew the standard is high, keep being the highest you can possibly be. Of course, it started to suffocate me later as I got older, because I was like,
you actually start to,
too much.
To resent her because you feel like you start to resent your younger sibling, like, hey mama,
no one cares.
No one
can be a rebel.
You're allowed to be the rebel.
I can't breathe
because me, I can't afford
to be a rebel. Rebel what? I have to please the parents. I have to please that. You know, I'm like, you can just you can be a little bit
like you envy her for getting away with this
a lot of
that you're not getting away with.
I can't get away with that. How?
I think even for me, where you it was my sister, definitely. And for us, it was the way we look, the way our bodies, our voices, our personalities, because we're so together and we're so close in age. I'm a year older, but we've always been in the same class. So it was I was terrible in class. So she used to be, you're the sister. You get? You're why don't you teach your sister? Do you get what I mean? And yet she's younger. And for me, to be honest, anything to do with, again, I was the best I've ever known. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't bothered much by comments from teachers. Do you get? So it was because of that comparison, I tried very much. Actually, when I was younger, I tried very much to emulate the people I was with, to kind of be like the people I was with, which means that it chipped away at my authenticity when I was younger, and I'd hang out with people I don't particularly like or enjoy or anything. It's just because I thought I had to be like the people I'm around in order for me to be accepted.
For me, when we were speaking, actually, when you spoke about your sister, that's when I remember, and I've shared, I think, like bits of stories this before. There's a girl that I grew up with. She was in S6 when I was in S4. So her mom used to come from their nice fence up those ends to tell my mother down these ends, cross the road to the ghettos, and tell my mom how, oh my God, my daughter performed so well. Nabingo is even begging her back. Oh my God, my daughter is this and that and that. And, oh, my daughter now is doing this and that. And, she was brilliant. She was beautiful. And you guys, when I would see that woman coming, I would just know that tonight is problems for me because
they're going to tell you how.
My mother is going to just tell me how I cannot measure up to her, how I can never be like her. How, Bananga, why don't you work and be like so-and-so? Why don't you be like so-and-so? And that girl, I remember, like, when she was in S6 and S4, she used to take me to some school nearby for us to read books and stuff. And she cared for me and she liked me. But when her mom would tell the story, I know the mom would tell these stories in a form of pride. Like, I'm proud of my daughter and this is what she's doing.
But your mom would pick it up the wrong way.
And tell me how I am not like her. Meanwhile, you're comparing me to someone who's in S6. We are not even doing the same curriculum at this time, the same syllabus. I am in S4. So my mom knew I should go to S4. Then me, there is also me. But remember, the circumstances are different. We were in different schools. My school was not giving me the facilities to even perform like that. She was in a good school, you get. A better home, you're provided for, you have everything you need in school to read and be better, whatever. I am not, you get, there were different circumstances. But you guys, my mom would talk my ear off about her. I remember how I grew to resent her. I grew to resent her so much. I resented this girl. And I look back and I'm like, we could have had
a very good friendship.
We could have had a good friendship because I actually later met people that knew her. And I remember when her introduction was happening, my mom was just like, oh yeah, so to my mom it was obvious because we've all grown up as kids together. Like, aren't you going for so-and-so's introduction? And I'm like, no, because I didn't like her. I grew to resent her so much because of how in spite of everything else, I never lived in
You never lived up to her. Her greatness.
Yes, to my mom, according to my mom, I never lived.
She was the child your mother
I
longed
never
for.
ever became her. I didn't get the grades she got.
Yeah.
I didn't go to the schools she went to. I didn't ever make it. And I grew to resent her. And when I met my friends, they're like, oh, we are coming for so-and-so's introduction. Are you coming? And I'm like, no. I remember telling my friend Jared, oh, I don't like her. And she's like, why? What did she ever do to you? And I'm like, and by then I was too young to even realize that it was from the comparison. I don't even know what answer I gave. But I mean, this lady has gone on to have like a good life and stuff. But I wish, like, in hindsight, one of the things I regret is us having, like, I told myself we could have had a good relationship because this is someone who used to take me to school to study, pass by and check on me. But even when she would come, I would hide. Someone would tell me, so-and-so is looking for you. And I'm like, Mugambe, see you. Because it's like, I'm going to look into the eyes of the person I had. It's like I'd failed her. I had let her down. It's like, I'll never be you. I'll never be good enough. It's like, even to this girl, I felt like I was never good enough to her. But when you talked about the relationship, the comparison with your sister, we tend to think that comparison comes with just like strangers. Or they bought a car, they did this and that. But the comparison that comes with family. I saw how my friend's young sister like got married, and then people are now just looking at the older sister like, now you're the one remaining. Then I've seen this thing of where you have to have busy cousin syndrome at people's functions because you don't want to be the jealous cousin. God forbid they don't see you moving up and down. And then they'll be like, you're not happy enough. You guys
can never be.
You're not happy enough for her.
You're not happy enough for her. You better smile. You guys, when someone makes me a bridesmaid, do you know why these days
you decline?
I told myself that it's a labor of love. I decline because I have to smile too much in photos to show that I am not jealous.
Yeah.
When they say that
You're
stand
not
up in church,
single.
when we stand up in church, then the heels are killing me. I can't stand, but I have
to
stand.
stand.
I can't look unhappy. I can't afford to look like I'm not happy for my friend. I can't afford to have like a face, like just a forgotten, like I've forgotten and like lost my track of mind. I can't. You can't afford anything because it's going to be like, yes,
happy
you have
enough.
To just be like,
happy enough.
Then you,
As you get older,
There's an amount,
weddings become harder and harder. When you're the one who's not married. You guys.
when it's not your wedding, that's Saturday. Then
You're happy, but Marwa, you have to.
You have to make it
if you're the
really
older
sure.
sibling and another one is getting married, you better carry that wedding on your back.
Yeah.
You better.
And show that you're happy for your sister.
And show that you're happy. And people even wonder, Nga she has not come out to greet. Why isn't she among them? Meanwhile, your sister has friends. How come she has not come out to greet?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're out those things, making sure everything, you're running the show behind there. But no, come out and then you come out to greet and they're like, that's the older sister.
Hey,
is she married? No, she's not
married.
Bambi.
Bam. Then they go to your mother. They carry it to your mother. Like, katibanange prim ye alikuchi.
Kwadako. Daddy.
Katina prim tumusabire. Katina tumusabire. So like the whole fake ass prayer. So you realize that, you guys, comparison has always been around us.
Yeah.
It's just in a miringo. Like, what do they? It's in different measurements, in different ways.
And I think, it's because I didn't grow up in the family itself. There was no really comparison. We were never compared, not even to my cousins. Nothing. No one was compared to another within the family. You would find these things like at church, at school, from other people you get. And I remember my mom very quickly swooping in and saying, but this is Claire and that is Zerida. Why are you comparing the two? You should actually defend us. And I'm starting to see now as an adult the importance
Of doing that.
of
Cabinet.
coming in and saying that yes, Fiona is very genius at school, but Claire is really, really clever in
This
A,
and
B,
that.
C, and D. Does that make sense? So that's what my
Your mom
so
did,
my both my parents, they were like, okay, Claire's clearly not academic. So they threw me in music. I was always every Friday, things like that. And I remember my dad really wanted me to be, I think I've said this before, to go to Nollywood and act. He's like, when Nollywood, my mom jam. So you get like, so he knew what my strengths were and he elevated those instead of, and I was reading somewhere, I don't remember where it is, that often as parents, we highlight our kids, the things they cannot do.
Yeah.
And try to push them to do the things they cannot do. But I feel like time and experience has shown us that either if I can't do it, I can't do it. No matter how much you beat, no matter how much you scream, no matter how many coaches. You guys coach waka. And they used to all go but I was so difficult, and because I didn't fear them, because we were not raised in a household where we were told to fear. You get. I was a really difficult student.
That's what God has not given you a spirit of fear. Was in the fear
no fear. I had no fear. Like, we were raised to respect. You get. But I could adamantly tell the teacher and say, I don't understand.
Yes.
I don't. And because I was a child, if I've decided I don't understand, I don't understand. Even if you do what you get. Even my dad tried to coach me. That man was brilliant at maths. So for him, he would do. You know how you have the working. My dad would do everything in one step, and he'd say the answer is here, and I'm like, but daddy, how? He'd get so frustrated. Go tolaba. He'd say, and he'd get so frustrated. So my teachers would always get frustrated with me because I do not have a mathematical mind. You get. Anyway, so my teachers ngabe goba. So they even stopped doing the coach. It doesn't matter if your child's not going to get it. So try to figure out what they can do well and elevate that. Can you imagine, Prim, I started also competing with you in style? Can you imagine? You get it? Style is not my thing. For me, when God was giving out style, I think I was in the BAM section. You get it? I was in the BAM section. By the time I came for style, I went there. Do you get what I mean? Now, if I start to try to be stylish like you, or even stylish like Fiona, you get, I will lose because I am not good at it. And that's what people do when they compare other people. How do you compare one person who's not even good naturally at one thing and compare them against another?
There's a thing I read somewhere that statement freed me. I don't remember it very well, but I'm going to paraphrase it. Something like, the reason we believed we were not smart was, like I don't know if smartness was about what the fish, if smartness was about walking on land, fish would spend their lives thinking
they are not smart.
They are not smart. Yeah. And elephants would spend their lives
thinking that they are the
if it was
smartest.
About swimming, the elephants would spend their lives thinking that they were dumb. You get that thing really, really freed me. It's a statement that I tell myself that, but I feel like it also comes from a point of now accepting that this is what I'm not good at. And like every human being, you have your strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And that's why I think they encourage teamwork. Yeah. What I look at with a team is, when I work with a team, I like to excel and focus on this. One thing I've noticed is that the strength of everyone will cover out the weaknesses of everyone.
100%.
We will know that it will be rare that we all have the same weaknesses. So when you appreciate human beings in their humanity, in their forms, you realize that human beings are very different, very diverse, but they also do not excel this. And I feel like it was just God's way of having a power balance, that no one man is good at everything. No one man has all strength and no weaknesses. Yeah. And it helps, because I was going to actually lead us into feelings of inadequacy. It helps for you to recognize and say that, you know what, I'm not good at this, and everyone else who excels at it, good for you. Good for you, and I will support you there. I just want to be supported when I am excellent at this other thing. Yeah. And it reminds me of, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. I'll come back to it. Yeah, I'll come back to it. But anyway, when you talk about like inadequacies and the feeling like you are not good enough like the other person, you don't realize the individuality of like life, and you don't have to be as good as the other person. Like, it's important that we compare ourselves to our past selves. Personally, I compare myself to my past self. For me, that's my measure of success.
You're competing with yourself.
My old self, yes.
Yeah,
Making
to be
sure
a
that,
better person.
Was I a procrastinator before? I am not a procrastinator this year. Was I, a latecomer before? I'm not doing that anymore this year.
Because the alternative is that if I am a procrastinator this year, but I'm also trying to be, let's say, a stylish person, you get, like you, when I'm not naturally, does that make sense? I'm trying to be you instead of being better me.
A better version of you, yes.
Do you get? Yeah. And that's what's usually happening, that people are all constantly trying to be someone else instead of look at your situation and be a better version of you. The next day.
I remembered I went for a workshop in Moshi, I think last year.
Yeah.
So I was staying at my friend's house. So my friend had a car and she'd given me a car. So, or at the time she would drop me because first she was living and working there. So she would drop me earlier than my colleagues that were staying in another place and being dropped by a van, shuttle. So I would come early and they would find me sitting. So on the very last day, we were there for like a week. On like the very last day, I come and we used to sign in a book, or like, what time did you come? 6:45, 7:15, So I would sign and like sit outside and they've not yet opened the office. So on the very final day, I come, those guys had signed, I just signed and sat. I'm like, oh, these guys are here. Where have they gone? Where have they disappeared? I was curious. So anyway, the guy comes and tells me, I've finally beaten you. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I still remember holding my phone like, what's going on? He's like, you've been coming early and I've been trying to beat you and I've not. And but I'm glad I beat you. I even had to come, sign, then go somewhere else so that I can see the look on your face when you come and see that I had already signed.
That's a little much.
I looked at, I was like,
what did I do to you?
Yeah, like, what? I'm like, in my head, I was like, this man, for me, waking up.
You have just been waking up and living your life. For him, he's competing against someone who doesn't even know he's competing with.
I'm a morning person. I have people who function really well in the morning at 4 a.m. to like 11 a.m. Excellent, smart. After that, I don't.
Deterioration.
I just like to come early, take in the
And
day.
for him, you'll find that he's a night person and he's been fighting with a morning person.
You get. I'm like, for me, waking up early, my parents used to wake up early. I picked it up from them. My dad used to leave the house at 5. My mom all my life has left the house at 5. It's natural to me. Like you see, you had to be like, you set an alarm and probably went through it and suffered. And me, it was just effortless that at 4, my brain woke up and it was, I looked at this one and I've never felt such pity for someone. Yeah. Like from time to time, I think about it. Like I've met other people who say, oh man, this guy is complicated like this and that because, it's the same organization. And I keep thinking about it and I'm like, what a sad way to live. Yeah. What a very sad way to live, that for you, things are not like things are not a point to, like you were competing. I'm like, what, for 5 days? I kept thinking back at, for 5 days you've been here. Thinking and plotting and like the
entire time.
Yes, the effort it took for you to.
And for you, you are just living your life.
Yeah, someone is just living their life, like you said. Evening out, competing with a morning person. Like
you're just doing your
normal day to day. And so most times you find that when you're comparing yourself, feeling inadequate, you're feeling inadequate about in the wrong way. Why? You're feeling inadequate for based off of someone who. For them, that comes easily. Do you understand? And even you excel somewhere else, and this person could also look at you and be like, I could never do that. Yeah. I wish I could do that. Yeah. But because you're not interacting with them, you don't even know their struggle. Yeah. You have just deduced in your mind based off of what?
That this person? Yeah.
What you see.
Beragachi. Kumbe for you just living your life.
That thing in the workspace where you're like, and I one of the topics I want to cover on my stories is copying good habits. It's a very good thing for you to copy good habits. It's when you're improving yourself, when you're elevating yourself, copy good habits. Ask people how they do it instead of saying that, oh, she thinks she's better than us. The reason she doesn't talk to everyone is because she thinks she's better than everyone. Yeah. No, she doesn't think that. Yeah. She probably, she's probably just like using this time to polish up on her other things. She's probably reciting speech skills. It's good to copy good habits. Ask people. True. How are you?
How do you get?
How come you come early? Yeah. How come you still accomplish your tasks?
Yeah.
And people are willing to share. You'll be very shocked that people are willing to share.
Most people are willing to share.
The women in boardrooms that you see, instead of saying that they slept their way up, ask them how they did it. They'll be willing to tell you that, things were difficult because what you're seeing is them now in that boardroom.
When they've made it,
When
that
they've made
overnight
it.
success.
Yes, they'll be able, some of them will even pick up just to mentor you. They'll be like, you know what, I know what it was like to be in your space. It was a cruel world, whatever, but this is what I had to do. This is what I have to do. And it's actually a very good world out there if you give people the chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And also comparison comes from pride.
Yeah.
It comes from pride.
Yeah,
You
like
feel
how dare you
how
be
dare
better
you?
than me?
Yes.
Even that story you just told, that was
How
really
dare you.
Interestingly,
how can that person be, earlier than me every single day?
yeah.
What do you mean?
interestingly, that when you say, I feel I don't compare myself, I am on my lane and I am the est today than I'm Esther today than I was yesterday, like I'm the best version of me, people will think you're not humble by saying, listen, I know I'm the best.
But it's because in your lane you are the best in that
but
lane.
then you don't, and yet the lack of humility is actually saying, how dare Prim be earlier than me? You get? And I know it's more internal, which is why most people don't see it. But humility doesn't have to, it's not internal or external, it's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, talking to someone and telling them that this is the journey of life is like this. It's not like this. It's not like there's this first person, then there are these ones. The journey of life is like this. There's you here in this lane, and there's this one. There's this one who has gone ahead. Yeah. But you guys, after removing my front tooth, I know that all my teeth are important because now when I'm eating meat,
you're very
yes, I have to eat from the side.
Intentional.
And one tiny tooth was removed, and it has made me realize that every tooth in my mouth plays a role. So it's not like you don't need these ones, the incisors, you don't need the premolars. No, it plays a role. So without this finger, these ones would not grasp
work as
really
well. Yes.
But the journey of life is that there's this one who is starting out, there's this one who has gone somewhere. We are all just in our individual lanes, and you just need to. But life is not like this. This one went there first, now all of us cannot go. No. Actually, I'm those people who believe that we cannot succeed in this life. Like, so there's so much abundance to go around. I believe it.
There is.
I believe it.
And you know how we compare us often, especially when the older you get, and someone says, for you, you're lucky, you were born with over A, B, C, and D. And I feel like that's one of our biggest traps in Africa, in Uganda. People comparing their things they can't even help. You get? Like, you can't help where you were born. You can't help who birthed you. You can't help the family you came from.
That, yes.
You can't. You get? So I can't sit here and be like, hey, mama,
They were...
this person, for them, their father gives them A, B, C, and D and whatnot. Because they are there, but what are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
You get, so that and then you get stuck there in something you can't even change, and we learned about this recently, that what is in your head is what you actually produce. If you think that something, you've compared yourself and deemed yourself worthless, because there's comparing and someone gets hate. That's one thing. And then someone starts to try to outcompete you, and then there's the comparison where you said, hey, it's the Fiona. Hey,
it's them.
It's for them.
Yeah.
And then for you decide
like
your place is here and theirs is here, and this is where you're going to stick in your corner because you can't match up. And that's also just as destructive as trying to outcompete someone else.
Self-destruct,
Yes.
Because you have to I feel like you have to say, what is your success? Because our success doesn't always look the same.
No.
And I keep saying, I don't even need to reach the point of buying a Range Rover. Like, my success is, I know what my success looks like.
Completely different.
So, in my friend's Range Rover,
it is nice.
No, it's not my success, because you might have noticed, I'm not interested in cars.
Yeah.
I'm just not, I never have been. Even when I could afford a much nicer car than the one I have is the one I bought.
Yeah.
It's not a point of interest for me. You get what I mean? Like, for you it might be, and that's valid.
Yeah.
It's just that if you don't know what if you don't know what your success looks like, you're going to chase a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you're going to be in 5 hustles.
Yeah.
Why do you have 5 hustles? If one is making the money that you need to live that life comfortably that you
Yeah.
want, but because you want to compete with
Oh,
others.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
me, I am a
have
hustler. I have 6 businesses,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
being very...
And you have no idea what this
Yeah.
person is on starting their 6 businesses. For you,
There's a
What is your
person-
success, please?
A personal coach picked me up, and our first session was that. She was like, we were talking about like having to do like, I told her that I'm trying to understand how people abroad do like 4 jobs, and for me, I'm failing. I'm doing like 3 jobs and I'm failing, I'm struggling. Yes, like, but you see, Prim, one of the things we are going to cover and talk about is the fact that you might not even need all those jobs. If you get one that pays all these other bills, you don't need all these other
You
jobs.
don't,
I remember
yeah.
it's like it hit
Yo-
me
yo-
that, oh my God, we've just glorified this whole
Yes.
We've glorified hustling.
Yeah.
yes, the hustling
Because
and stuff.
everyone needs to be like the other person.
Yes. Like it's as if prestigious to say that I'm doing all
Yeah.
these other things.
Yeah.
Like you're more exhausted than others.
Yeah.
So we even compete in exhaustion. We
Yeah.
compete in who works harder. But you guys, as we are closing, the one comparison that I want you to know finds each and every one is the comparison that comes with motherhood.
Yeah.
When your child is not hitting milestones, I have seen women lose their minds. The comparison that comes with motherhood, the comparison that comes with marriage, the comparison that comes with life starting when you get married. And you see other married women, like having, first of all, they're showing up to work, they're excelling in their careers. Then you're wondering, but for me, it's like I'm suffering. Since I got married and became a mom, I come to work, I'm constantly exhausted. Then you see other people, they are glowing and looking nice. You're like, what
They're
are
even
they
working out.
They're working
Yeah.
out. Where are you
When do
getting
they
that
work
time
out?
from? Then you see someone saying, oh guys, this is McKinsey worked at 6 months. Then the moms are there saying, tell us, Claire, how did you make McKinsey work at 6 months?
Yeah.
And now you're just, and like the moms are stressed. But then it also, I think, you see, this is how we start to pass it down to our children.
Yes.
You now
Now
start
you put
getting
them
your
on.
child.
Going out of
Some
tambula. Should I
that-
bet tambula?
some, you start trying to make some work, not knowing that McKinsey could have worked at 6 months, but she didn't talk
Yeah.
until 2 years.
Yeah.
She, this other one is talking at maybe 9 months, whatever,
Yeah.
and they're just probably not working, and they walk. Either way, at the end of the day, the end goal is what? Walking.
Okay.
Do you think that at this end, do you think that now my mom is there saying, Momula Bidao, as you see that walker there, she walked at 2 months. Are we bragging about our walking? No.
No.
At the end of the day, the end of life's journey
Life-
is eventually
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Eventually, life evens you out.
I know.
Regardless, and I'm finding it in the 20s.
I know.
That life evens you
Yeah.
out. You think
It
you're all
evens
that
out
in
the
your
balance.
20s. Like, listen,
20s there.
Yeah.
you're going to come down to same level,
Yeah.
same everything. And something I also wanted to say that's important. It's the one thing that brings about a lot of comparison is me expecting you to be like me. Does that make sense? Not you wanting so much to be. So we've talked about different types. There's those ones that keep themselves smaller, those ones that compete, and then those ones of you should be like me. Why
Like
are
I'm
you
the
not
standard
like me? Yes.
unit
Yes.
of this and that.
You get, and we try to force people to
Yeah.
do things our way,
It's something
marriage
that-
our way.
Yeah.
We try to
Friendship
do
our way.
friendship
It's-
our way,
yeah. When you and I had
parenting
a
our way.
conversation recently,
Yeah.
it's something that I thought of as like, but who made me the guru of what better friendships should be? Of who made me the expert? Who made me the better friend? I think I even told you, but like, what made me think? Like, I actually went home and had like a conversation with myself. Like,
yourself.
what made you think that you are the better friend that gets to sit in a chair and be like, Claire, I don't think you're a good friend. Da 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 da. I actually had the
Yeah,
time
we
we talked
did
for
have
so
that
long. I told you,
conversation, yes.
I was like, you know what, Claire? Who are we to tell you this and that? Who are
Yeah,
we
this
to
is
say
how
that
this looks
this
like.
looks like? Yeah.
Because things just look differently
Yeah.
in different people. It's kind of like someone coming and saying, MTN coming and saying, every company,
This should be the
every
standard.
telecom company should be
Be
like
the standard,
MTN.
yes.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Oh,
No.
I came
Get.
from my high horse so quickly. I fell from
And
that high
I
horse
find
very
a lot
quickly.
of times we try to help. You see how I give parenting advice? I don't beat my child, but I absolutely will never tell you not to beat your child. It is your prerogative. I don't think you should beat your child. I don't think anyone should beat their child. But listen, I'm not going to come and try to make you and judge you.
Like for us, we were not beaten. We turned out okay.
Exactly. I will do my thing. You do your thing.
Yeah.
You get. I have reasons for doing my thing. I'm not going to make you try to do my thing.
Yeah.
You get. Because I saw a lot of every now and then someone sends me a message on, you're putting us on pressure. I'm like, no, I'm just sharing my journey. If you take from it, take from it. If you don't like it, leave it.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm just sharing my journey and my very strong beliefs about A, B, C, and D. Marriage. You've seen a lot of people. I remember someone said, a few years ago, I saw a clip of a couple who, for them, they work because they live in separate rooms. Do you get what I mean? Who are you to come and say this doesn't work?
Yeah.
You who's not in that marriage.
Like, you're supposed to hold
Does that
each
make
other
sense?
in the night.
Exactly. Some people even decide to sleep apart in different houses. And the point is, the marriage is working. At the end of that day, you make it to 50 years. Even you who have been in the same bed, even these ones who've been in the different houses, you all work. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And somehow it kind of eases you once you realize that people are going to do things differently. And it's okay.
It's okay. That's your thing.
It is actually okay. That is one that then you won't compare. You won't compare.
You won't
and you won't elevate yourself so much and your beliefs so much that you shut down everyone else's. Yes.
Who doesn't behave the way you do.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that perspective. I know that it's something that I've learned from our friendship. You and I, it's something that I've learned. Like I quickly fell for my high horse of who do you think you are? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you the definition of this and that simply because you do one or two tasks? You get, like, I've had to, that's something that for me came out of our friendship. Like, I knew, and like I said, I think we've shared this before, that what conflict does is that it makes relationships either better like if it survives, the relationship gets better.
Or it gets better or it just stops.
It just stops.
Yeah.
But at least each of you knows where now the other person lies. Thank you so much for that perspective. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Would like to hear from you on comparison. Mostly, where do you feel? What are some of the things that make you feel inadequate? Where do you feel like you lie? But also, do you ever have like moments like this last parting shot that Claire shared, where have you had now a moment of, oh my God, I've been feeling like every other person who is not doing this and that is a bad mom, a bad wife, a bad friend, simply because for me I'm doing these things. Have you had like any moment of, oh my God, has it hit you? So I would like to hear from you guys from the comments. Thank you so much for watching.
And even I think, because you said when you were saying in those different areas as a mom, as a wife, I also thought it's good for us to keep on also asking ourselves that question in terms of faith and religion, because it's such a delicate place where we tend to impose how we practice our faith on others. Yeah. You cannot be the prefect of Christianity or the prefect of Islam or the prefect of whatever. Like, you don't get to tell people how they practice their faith. Period.
I'm not even interrupting that. Preach. Holy Spirit, this is the water. John the Baptist baptized.
Preach, please, kindly preach. Because, wow, especially Christians.
So what are
especially Christians, like, you have the right to believe what you believe and express it how you express, but you are not the police.
That of the Catholics are lying. That this church is for liars. The Muslims are lying.
You remember the Maverick City jazz?
You guys.
A fire, God made fire. What is like that ring of fire around, like fire? God made, who do you think made fire?
They really do.
Good.
Those people.
Like, they really do. I think it was Emmy awards. It was the awards, and Maverick City had a performance with Will Smith, and there was a ring of fire, and Christians who were like, do not, Maverick City, these are demons, what? I'm like, because of a ring of fire.
Because even the expectation that everyone is going to be perfect throughout their
there you go, exactly.
Like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
Including
you, we just don't see it.
To show them grace.
Yeah.
Even you're failing.
And interestingly,
you're also being tough on you. You see, when someone is being tough on you, you remember that thing I told you, that most times we are angry at the things we see in ourselves.
Yes.
So when someone is being tough on you and like not showing us, if a Christian is saying, Claire, how dare you drink? How dare you backslide, quote unquote? It's because
They struggled.
There's an inner demon, there's an inner backsliding they're struggling
Yeah.
with. And they feel like you are shining light on that. But
Yeah.
for you, how dare you?
How dare you
forgive
bravely?
yourself?
Yeah, how dare you bravely, you know? And so there's a lot of things, like that Maverick City, that thing played my head. Like, how do you, listen, look at some of the most praised people in the Bible. Look at David. The man did every sin. Every sin, all the 7 greatest sins other than homosexuality.
At the showering person.
Other than homosexuality, he did everything. He lied, he stole, everything. He was treacherous, he murdered, adultery, fornication. Yes.
He killed the woman's husband.
Yes. And yet, he is one of the most
man after
praised
God's own heart.
people
in
the Bible.
Jesus Christ comes from
Shame
his
on you,
lineage.
Christian. Shame on you.
Turn and look at us because we're also here.
No, I'm Christian too. Yeah. I'm just not going to go around making my level of Christianity the ultimate goal, and everyone else is doing it wrong. Your job is to worship your God. You get? Yes, and by you worshiping your God, we as the rest of us, the ones that are not worshiping like you, are supposed to see from you an example. You get? Your worshiping is supposed to glorify God, not these things of, banta mawabula.
But just not actually, as you say, Christianity, it happens also in many faiths.
That for me, it's just because I experienced. I have found Muslims are such wonderful people, and then I meet other people. I'm like, oh, Muslims have also their things.
Everyone experiences
Muslims
it
are
in
such
their
wonderful things.
areas.
Wonderful people.
It happens everywhere. So anyway, that was just, I don't know how we've ended up in this, but to remember that also as you're pitching these comparisons against others, like first stop, pause, take a bit of water, preferably Rwenzori. You don't hydrate and take the time to drink water and think.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this thought?
We are not sure about your trail of thoughts.
But anyway, that was. I interrupted our ending, but we are closing. Please subscribe, guys.
But it was such a beautiful, very, very important point.
Yes.
And a great episode. And as always, a big shout out to our family here at Nzou Media Hub, the space where we film, the people that do our production, and then now they're all now looking down. They're shy.
Media in shock that
they are shy.
Family. They're like, what? Did you say our family at Nzou?
Is it true?
They're like, as in cousins. Like, your cousins now.
First cousins, second cousins removed, once
they're
removed.
Like, what happened? What happened? Did they related to cousins?
Yeah, but we love it here. In case it's not already obvious. We love our kuzos here. They do the most. And we love this space.
To make
Please
us look good.
Yeah.
You know, quality is something that's really, really important to us as Kama Digital and Unpopular Opinion.
So thank you.
And so thank you to Nzou Media for keeping us at high standards. The high standards we set out for is what they're keeping us at. So
Amen to that. All right. See you next time.
Bye.